February 17th wasn't just an eclipse. It was a structural overlap most people weren't factoring in. So if Tuesday the 17th felt somewhat charged, subtly destabilizing, or like something bigger had shifted beneath the surface, that's why. What converged yesterday was layered, precise, and architecturally significant. And today, I want to break down what actually overlapped, why it mattered, and why there is no coincidence that it happened on day one of the new year of the fire horse in Chinese astrology. February 17 carried an 8 frequency. 8 is authority, it's materialization, it's this is real and it's happening now. And that's the exact day the solar eclipse occurred. But there was a lot more structurally taking place. Here's the layer stack that was active on the 17th. Layer 1 was the solar eclipse. Eclipses amplify and accelerates, and it was accelerating, in this case, a reset, and was also exposing misalignments. Layer 2 was a new moon that was taking place in Aquarius. This is about identity reset at the level of system design, whether that's personally or collectively or globally. Layer 3 was that it wasn't just an eclipse. It was actually an annular eclipse, which is also called a ring of fire. And this is different from a total eclipse, which is, a complete blackout, and that's more about elimination. But with an annular, the light still filters around the edge, so it forms the shape of a ring, so light is not fully extinguished, and that ring is what's bringing refinement. Layer 4 was the presence of Uranus and Venus, which together they bring pattern interruption. They bring disruption of outdated structures, but with a focus specifically on values and relationships and self-worth, and anchoring that as the collective evolutionary direction forward. Layer 5 was the frequency of the day itself. February 17 is an 8-tone day, and that's authority recalibration. It's causing us to ask questions like, where is my power leaking? What needs tightening? Where can I refine things? And then lastly, the 6th layer, as I hinted to in the beginning, there is no mistake that all of this occurred on the very first day of the year of the fire horse, something that only takes place once in every 60-year cycle. Fire horse energy is ignition energy. It is catalytic. It's pure horsepower in a very real sense. And this arrived on the exact same day. But catalytic force without structural coherence leads to volatility. It leads to chaos. So a foundational system and identity level reset must happen as well. Only then does that ignition have a smooth track to run on, and that combination matters. And that combination is what took place. That is not casual overlap. That is architectural shifting under pressure. So how might this have felt in the body? Well, because this was an identity level convergence, it often shows up as sudden clarity, as emotional residue surfacing, or a strange underlying calm feeling that also feels strongly decisive, or a restlessness or agitation, but without a clear story. And I found myself in a few moments of that as well yesterday. Think fiery thoroughbred at the starting gate kind of energy. And it can also bring a strong impulse to reorganize and creating greater coherence and beauty. And I know I found myself very much on that track yesterday, working on our home and just creating more beauty in certain areas of the house. So collectively, it wasn't overly emotional or overwhelming, but it was structurally recalibrating. And that can feel subtle, but there's also a distinct knowing that what's shifted is irreversible. And that brings us to where we are now. So today, February the 18th, today carries a 9 energy, a 9 frequency that clears residue. Nines integrate what has just shifted. So if you're noticing some subtle emotional waves or fatigue, or maybe a little more softness or a need to decompress, that makes perfect sense with where we're at. The structural reset happened yesterday, and today is about letting the nervous system settle into its new configuration. To close this reflection, the eclipse itself was a highly layered convergence. It wasn't just a single alignment, and it wasn't really dramatic either. Multiple structural influences were aligning, and identity reorganized in a very big way. The question now is, will you remain conscious and stabilize into the new configuration, or default into the old one? If this helped put words to something you may be moving through yourself, feel free to like this video. And if you'd like to stay connected, you are welcome to subscribe to my channel for more. I'm Katya, and I'll see you in the next one.